All right, boys, today I want to talk about fasting. And I want to talk about the fasting alchemy because I do believe that fasting is the best way to get leaner, lose weight, get into the best shape of your life while you still enjoy your 20s, enjoy your life, and don't obsess over fitness. So, now some proof here before we begin. This was me before 231.4 pounds. I went exactly to the numbers because I have all those numbers recorded. I was, the heaviest, fattest I've ever been. You've seen the man boobs, the clothes don't look good, the whole deal. Now, this is me nowadays. Now, I'm not going to hear say that this is, a fantastic, Greek god physique, but I'm at 207.2 pounds at this moment, so it's around 24 something pounds with fasting. Now, nothing else worked in my life before I started fasting. No counting calories, no meal preps, no anything, no keto, no nothing, nothing. So, I want to explain today a bit of exactly how I did this transformation, how I started fasting, why I did the choices that I made, and how exactly it worked, programming everything that you need to know to begin. Um, Now, addressing the title of this video, that I kind of went a little bit crazy with the title of the video. Now, I want to talk about alchemy, man, because I find it such an interesting concept, such an interesting symbolical philosophical science that I believe is very useful, right? So I'm gonna do a little turn here, but I'm gonna get to the point. So if you just want, skip a little bit ahead if you just want the practical tips. If you want some more depth, so you're not just like living your life in a shallow way, sit down and enjoy, right? So one of the main principles when it comes to alchemy, I'm going to be quick here, is about solve et coagula. Now that means destroy and rebuild. If you watch Full Metal Alchemist, you know your shit. That's the main concept. It's like you have to break something down to rebuild it again the way that you want. So there is a lot of this silly idea that, oh, what did the alchemists try to do in the Middle Ages? They wanted to turn lead into gold. That's not exactly what they were thinking. What they were trying to do is that they had this belief that all metals were came from the same raw material, the same base material. So what they wanted to do was find a way to break those materials down to their base components and rebuild them as more like a more perfect version of itself, because they thought all the metals were had a hierarchy from the least pure to the most pure, gold being the most perfect metal, lead being the least perfect metal. So what they were trying to do is to break down those things to get to this base matter, and then perfect that thing to the point of it becoming gold, of it becoming like the most perfect thing possible. That's not only a philosophy, a way of thinking that applies to metals, right? This is just the way that it's most commonly known nowadays. It's like, oh, it's the base of chemistry. Chemistry is a how can I say, it's like the graded version of alchemy, because alchemy is all about transformations. It's the science and the study, the attempt to understand transformations and changes. So here you have this image of the alchemical oven, right? So you would use the flames to heat up. The flames have always been associated with the spiritual realm, right? If you get the book of Genesis, God creates the human, creates Adam with mud, and then he breathes into Adam's nostrils, right? So we see earth, we see water, and we see air. We're missing one of the elements, which is fire. But the fire is something that we have to go and search for it ourselves. It's something that is like within our souls. Is the whole idea of the heart of Jesus Christ, like that painting of Christ with the heart on fire, the sacred heart. That's the idea of fire being the something that's sublime, being something that elevates, because it's something that burns, and the smoke goes up, right? So by using this alchemical oven and heating it up, they were trying to sort of elevate the material, right? You have the image of the dragon eating its own tail, the Ouroboros, basically meaning that how everything is kind of connected. You have the bird. So it's just a matter of him, of you. We can apply this principle when it comes to transformation of ourselves. That's why alchemy is used as an analogy. That's why that book, The Alchemist, is so famous, because alchemy is a way that we can use, is a science, a symbolical framework that we can use to transform ourselves, right? So you have this idea of, this ancient idea of, you have to ascend the mountain, right? If you like got two little passages from the Bible that pretty much talk about the same thing. One of those days, Jesus went to the mountainside to pray. After 6 days, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, the brother of James, and led them up high mountain by themselves. So this idea of going up the mountain, it's actually the same idea as going down within yourself, as going deeper into your soul. So every time you read one of those older books and you see something about going up a mountain, or you see something about going inside a cave, it's the same thing. It's a journey of self discovery. By going up a mountain, you get closer to God, and you get closer to, it's a special place where special things happen. But at the same time, you're also going deeper within yourself when you do that. So how does this apply to weight loss? How does this apply to fitness? Because people try to get a way of doing things without suffering. They're trying to build without first destroying. They're trying to create something out of nothing. They're trying to fix decades of bad habits in days, in 30-day challenges, and that's not how it works. It's a long process, and it's a process that it's not simply a matter of following a diet and losing weight. That's why I kept failing all the times that I tried before, because what I was trying to do is change without accepting the change within myself. Is change without breaking the thing that was currently there, without putting my current self through some amount of suffering to get to the other side. And I believe in this concept very deeply, this concept of undisciplined discipline. Undisciplined discipline. Like, I think we're in a post-discipline world when it comes to self-improvement. I was thinking about it this morning when I was having a coffee. It's like all of the field of self-improvement is just a big roundabout way to get back to Jesus Christ. It's like to religion. It's all of that. It's like, oh, how can we get as far away from this thing as possible? And then they end up eventually turning into religion all over again, because those things are intrinsically connected. They went all this hard, discipline equals freedom, go hard, lock in, stay hard, and then all the way back to this, like, do things for love. So when you do the things for love is when there's this video from Elisha Long that he says this thing. It was like, oh, you can have, your ambition can come from fear, or your ambition can come from love. And the ambitions that come from fear, they never last too long. And that thing stuck with me, man, because a lot of things that people do are always related to fear. They're all related to avoiding a bad outcome, avoiding getting hurt, avoiding pain. But when you do things out of love, when your ambition of change, when your will to transform yourself comes out of love, then you can reach this stage of undisciplined discipline. Because then it's not a matter of like, oh, I work out because discipline and because I have to. It's like I work out because out of love for myself, out of love for the people that I like, out of love for, I don't know, your partner, your future kids. So it's this whole idea of, it's like the word aesthetics, training for aesthetics, right? The word aesthetics comes from the Greek aesthetikos, which means someone that is someone that feels. It's something related to feeling and to perceiving and to sensory inputs. It's usually, I was reading that it's usually used to talk about things that are learned through the senses and not through the mind. So aesthetics is all about, on the Greek term of it, it's all about you feeling better, you feeling good, you feeling You're developing this wisdom of the body, as Yukio Mishima would say in Sun Steel. So when you get to this point of undisciplined discipline, it's where you want to be, is where you can actually flourish, right? So now let's get to the more practical things of this video. This is the exact framework that I've used to lose more than 20 pounds over the past year with fasting. All of that while eating, I didn't turn to a carnivore keto diet. I was eating pizza and pasta every single day. I was going out on the weekends and drinking. I was going out and eating a lot of good food. And I was still able to lose 20 pounds, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I could have probably lost a lot more. But again, you cannot expect to be perfect, because you first have to break what you currently have. You have to put yourself through some suffering so you can actually build something new. You have to go up the mountain, which at the same time is going down within yourself, going deeper within yourself, to actually reach this point of undisciplined discipline and transform yourself and actually lose the weight. Losing weight's all here, man. Losing weight's all a mental battle. It has very little to do with what you actually like, actually the actual diet that you're doing. This is how most people eat. They have a breakfast, they have 2 little snacks, they have lunch, and they have dinner. If you go to a dietitian, if you go to YouTube Fitness, how are they going to tell you to lose weight? They're either going to tell you to keep doing what you're doing but eat less on every meal, or they're going to tell you to cut the snacks off, right? They're going to tell you to cut the snacks, just have 3 meals a day, and then you're going to be good. You're going to start losing weight. That is good. That's good. That works, man. That actually works. I was like, I'm not going to sit here and say the fasting is the only way to lose weight, because that'd be a lie. But it never worked for me. So it never worked for me, I believe, because it gets you into this constant state of dissatisfaction with the way that you're doing things. It's like you're always a little bit fucking hungry, but it's never like really hungry. You're always eating those things that you didn't actually want to be eating. And you have to carry everything around. You have to go and meal prep. And I was like, I am 23. I live by myself. It's like, I don't want to fucking meal prep. It's like I had to go to work for years carrying the fucking backpack with a little lunch container inside, and it always kind of sucked. And then you go at work and you eat your little lunch container. 30 minutes later, you're hungry again. And so it's like, I always hated following this method of having more meals, because I hate not eating until I'm full. And that might be something that I have to work on. I don't know, but it's just something that I still do nowadays, and I like doing it. I like eating until I'm full. Now, so let's say you want to start fasting. You never fasted before, or you have some experience with fast. Well, what most people do when it comes to fasting, they cut the breakfast, they cut the first snack, they do the 16 hours, 8 hours, 16-hour fast, 8-hour eating window. So they just have a lunch, snack, and dinner, right? And that's what they do when it comes to fasting. What I do when it comes to fasting is that I only have this. So every day, at least from Monday to Friday, all I'm going to be eating is dinner every single day. And in the middle, I have coffee, like black coffee or no calorie drinks, and a lot of water. That's what I do. Dinner. During the weekend, I do something along the lines of this. So I'll have breakfast, maybe a little snack during the middle of the day, a coffee, like a nicer coffee, and then dinner. This is what I've done. This is exactly the framework that I followed all this time to lose weight, to lose more than the 20 pounds that I was mentioning to you guys. Now, let me show you also how I did to transition from eating like this, or eating like without the snacks, to eating the way that I do right now, okay? So the first thing is I cut the snacks, man. Cut the snacks. Those things are useless. Those things are usually a lot of calories. Food that's not good for you. So this was the first step that I did. The first thing was cutting any snacks, and that was not really hard, man, because when you work at an office job, the way that I do, when you work in an office job, unless you bring the food with yourself, there's no fucking food. So that makes things easier, right? You don't have to, you can be tempted to eat something that doesn't exist. So that's what I did initially. That was kind of my starting point, actually. And then what I did after that is that I just cut the thing that was most inconvenient to me. And for me, that was always lunch. Lunch was always something very, very inconvenient in my life. So it's like it was never for me a fully satisfying meal. And you get sleepy afterwards, your work suffers, your performance suffers. You want to take a nap and you fucking can't. You have to go and drink a coffee. So I cut the lunch, right? I cut the lunch. And here's another principle that's very important. If you have a job, a 9 to 5 job, it is the best option to just schedule your fasting days when you're working. Because of course, if you're busy, if you're doing something, if you're distracted, you're not going to be thinking about food and about eating. So it's a lot easier to fast during the weeks when you're working than during the weekends. I loved breakfast, so I kept my breakfast, I kept my dinner, and I'm not counting here like coffees, but I was still drinking coffees, and I was drinking coffees with like cream and sugar. So that absolutely is something that has to be considered when you're doing this, because one of the first plateaus that I've hit was from the fact that I was having 400 extra calories a day in fucking coffee with cream and and sugar, right? So it's like that's something that you have to be mindful. That was not the second thing that I cut. The second thing that I cut, actually even here, I cut lunch. I don't eat lunch. Now it's 12:26, and I'm gonna take a nap after I'm done recording this video. So the second thing I did was cutting down the breakfast. And after I cut down the breakfast, I had significant drop in my weight at that point, right? I would still weigh myself every day. That's something I still do up to this day. Every day, usually close to the 24 hours right before my meal, I go and I weigh myself. And I have a smart scale, so it all gets recorded into this app. I don't have to track it, but I do recommend that you do track it just for your reference, and you know how much you're actually like losing and progressing. I find that very important. Some sort of tracking is, but again, it's that undisciplined discipline. Like if you can weight yourself, it's not the end of the world, right? If you don't have a smart scale, you don't have to go fucking buy it. It's like it's not that insane, okay? Then after that, what I did is that I cut every single calorie that I would eat. And that was a lot. That took me, this whole process, I speak to you right now, I tell you the story, and it's like, it sounds like something that was done fast. This whole process probably took me around like 8 months. From going from eating 3 meals a day to eating 1 meal a day, it's probably something that took me a good chunk of time. I could have done it way faster, but it was also like, it was the time of my life that I was also going through a very bad breakup. I was like miserable. I was depressed. I hated my job. So this is the best way that I could do with that current thing, right? So after that, see how life becomes a lot easier. Okay, life becomes a lot easier. I forgot that the snacks. I just add the snacks here. Life becomes a lot easier when all you have to do is to make sure you're eating one high quality, healthy, fulfilling meal a day instead of doing 5 of them. Like the amount of time that you save, the amount of energy that you now have, because like I don't have any crashes throughout the day. My energy level is stable. And I was thinking the other day, man, I probably get less hungry at this point than the people that work with me that eat 3 meals. I probably get less hungry than the people that are snacking all the time, because my insulin levels are stable. I'm not like shooting up my insulin and getting those, blood sugar crashes every fucking 30 minutes. It really sucks some days. Some days it's rough. Some days on the Saturday or Sunday, I'm going to eat a little bit more than I should have. I'm going to maybe add a little lunch because I just kind of feel like it, or the workout was brutal and I feel like eating something. But then it's going to make it very hard on the Monday. But then it's like, man, you can keep playing with those things. Here's the most important thing. This whole concept of undisciplined discipline ties in again. When you start actually losing weight, and you start actually getting healthier and feeling better and getting more aestheticos, as the Greeks would say, when you start having more of this knowledge that comes from just the sensations and observing your body, you actually don't need any more dieting advice. You don't need any more training advice. Like I train the way that I want to. It's like I only do exercises that I enjoy. I don't have a leg day. I just kind of like sprinkle leg training throughout my week, and my legs look great. can't show it to you right now because I'm fucking sitting down, but it's like my legs are looking good. They're still big. They're still proportionate. I haven't lost all my muscle. But it's not a burden anymore because I really enjoy doing it, because I can feel the benefits that it does to my body. As Aristotle would say, that there's 3 levels when it comes to forming a behavior, you would say, or to becoming more virtuous, right? Let me write this down because this is very interesting to think about. You have action, you have reason, and you have will. Okay, let me put this to the side here. You have like those three things right here: action, reason, and will. So the ideal for us for a behavior is that you want to do it, you know why you want to do it because it's good, and you actually do it. That's like the good thing. The good thing is when the behavior happens like this, right? You want to do something, you feel like working out because you know if you feel good, it is good for you, and then you actually work out. But the problem is that to build the behavior, you have to actually go all the other way, because when you start fasting, when you start working out, when you start going to the gym, when you start dieting, when you start losing weight, you don't want to do any of those things. You don't feel like working out, you don't feel like not eating, you're hungry, you're still getting used to the fast, so you don't want to do it. You don't actually. There's a difference for me between knowing something and actually understanding something. You can know that, losing weight's good for me. Every fat person walking around knows that if they lost weight, they would feel better, they would look better, they would be more confident, they would fit better in the clothes that they like, they would be able to be less self-conscious about their weight and everything. All of them know that, but until you start doing it, you don't actually understand it, because you don't actually feel that in your life. It's like your self-awareness when you start losing weight, your self-perception of how food feels, of how working out feels in your body, how you move, how you sleep, all those things that get really heightened when you start getting in actual shape. So you don't actually understand the reason, but all you have is the action. It's like, imagine if I get someone and they're born in a world where they can't see the sun and there's no sunlight. There's no heat, it's all cold and gloomy. They would have to believe that the sun is there just because someone's telling them that the sun is there, because they never felt the heat of the sun and they never saw the light of the sun. All they have is the action. All they have to do is just do the action. And at the beginning, that's how it works. You have to do the action. With time, you're going to start understanding the reason why you do the action. And then you're going to start willing to do it. And when it gets to this, then you are at that level where you achieve that undisciplined discipline, where you get to that point where you don't have to force things to happen anymore, because you naturally flow towards those things that are good for you, right? It's easy to see that the sun is real when you can feel the heat of the sun and when you can see the light of the sun. It's easy to believe that there's love in a relationship when you guys are affectionate, when there is physical connection, when everything is going well, when there's understanding and communication. But when those things start falling apart, the only thing that will keep a relationship, a marriage, for example, together is just the simple idea of knowing that there's still the sun is still there, even though it's dark and cold, right? So that's kind of what I wanted to give you guys today. Not only like this mindset, more depth in the way that I think when we look at things with more depth, when we look at things with more symbolical, more poetical, maybe a more romantic view of things, it's a lot easier to make a transformation, because you actually get a deeper meaning of what you're doing. You're not just going through the motions, you're not just grinding, you're not just becoming a gym cell. You can actually understand deeply the transformation that you're going through, and it's not just like this vain thing of like, oh, I want to work out to look good and to take shirtless photos and get matches on dating apps. It becomes this thing of like this transformation, this quest for knowing yourself better, and to getting closer to the divine, and to getting closer to the person that you're actually supposed to be. right? If you are overweight and you've been overweight your whole life, you don't know what your face looks like. I just want you to chew that on while I'm leaving, because it's been 25 minutes of video. I want you to chew on that. You never seen your actual face. If your face is covered in fat, I had this realization. I don't know what's the shape of my face until very recently, and I'm still kind of like, getting there. I don't have the fucking jawline or shit. I still have, I don't know. I want to lose like 20 something more pounds, get to 180. I am 5'9", by the way. So this channel is also a good part of documenting my journey and actually showing you guys live that it works. Okay, so I have a community as well. In case you're interested, check out the comments. I have a community for fasting and weight loss, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers. Have a good one. God bless.